Jenna Brooks thought she found safety in Dr. Mason Cole's arms. But behind his calm voice and perfect smile was a man who didn't heal. He hunted. She loved him. He buried her. Now the town's golden therapist is on trial, and the basement he swore was just storage is hiding secrets no one was ever meant to find. The Crime Scene presents a new page of crime, a new mystery, a new shock case. Dr. Mason Cole had the kind of vibe that made people lean in. Clean cut, always in pressed shirts, voice like warm honey. Ran a private therapy practice out of a brownstone that looked straight out of a magazine. Folks in town called him the healer. Said he helped them through divorces, breakdowns, even addiction. But behind that calm, collected front, Mason was a whole different beast. He didn't just listen, he studied. Watched how people moved, how they flinched, how they cried. He had this way of making you spill your guts without even realizing it. And once you did, you were in his world, his rules, his rhythm. He kept his circle tight. No family, no close friends, just clients and a few neighbors who barely saw him outside. He jogged at night, grocery shopped at odd hours, and never joined town events. Folks chalked it up to therapist burnout. But truth was, Mason liked the shadows. His office was spotless. No clutter, no mess. But if you looked close, you'd notice weird stuff, like the same candle always burning, or the fact that his clock never ticked. One client said she saw a photo of a woman tucked behind a book on his shelf. When she asked who it was, Mason just smiled. That smile? It wasn't warm. It was hollow, like he was pretending to be human. He had charm, sure, but it was the kind that made your skin crawl if you stared too long. Like something was off, but you couldn't quite name it. And that's what made him dangerous. He didn't scream, "Killer." He whispered it. Nobody knew that behind his locked basement door was a world nobody was supposed to see. Not yet. Not until Jenna Brooks walked into his life, and straight into the trap. Jenna Brooks wasn't the type to trust easy. She'd been through it. Bad breakups, sketchy roommates, a sister who died in a crash that never made sense. She worked nights at a dive bar off Route 9, pouring drinks and dodging creeps. But under all that edge, she was soft. Real soft. The kind that still believed people could change. She met Mason at a grief support group he ran out of his office. First time she saw him, he looked like peace in a storm. Calm voice, clean shoes, eyes that didn't flinch. He listened like he actually cared. Not just about her pain, but about her. And that hit different. They started talking after sessions. Then texting. Then late night calls. Within a month, she was crashing at his place, just until she got back on her feet. But Mason made it feel like home. Cooked her dinner. Left notes on the fridge. Told her she was safe now. And Jenna? She believed him. She stopped going out. Quit her job. Cut off old friends who said it was moving too fast. Mason said they were jealous. Said she didn't need anyone else. Just him. And Jenna? She nodded. Smiled. Told herself this was love. But things started to shift. Mason got weird about her phone. Asked who she was texting. Got quiet when she mentioned her sister. Said therapy was too triggering, and she should stop. He locked the basement and said it was off limits. Jenna brushed it off. Told herself he was just protective. Then she found the photo, tucked behind a book in his office. A woman with the same necklace Jenna wore. Same eyes, same smile. But it wasn't her. And Mason never mentioned her. That night, Jenna didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, heart racing, wondering what she'd walked into. And by morning, she knew she had to leave. Mason's brownstone looked picture perfect from the outside. Clean porch, trimmed hedges, even a wind chime that never made a sound. But there was one part of the house nobody ever saw. The basement. Door stayed locked. Always. He told folks it was just storage. Old furniture, maybe some files. But neighbors had their doubts. Late at night, strange sounds drifted through the walls. Metal scraping. Heavy thuds. Once, a neighbor swore they heard crying. Not loud. Just soft, like someone trying not to be heard. Mason brushed it off. Said it was the pipes. Said the house was old. But the noises kept coming. Jenna noticed it too. First week living there, she asked about the basement. Mason smiled that weird smile and said, "Nothing down there worth seeing." She let it go, but the curiosity stuck, like a splinter in her brain. One night, while Mason was out running errands, Jenna found the key, taped behind a bookshelf. Her hands shook as she unlocked the door. The air hit her like a punch, cold, damp, smelled like rust, and something worse. She crept down the stairs, heart pounding. The basement wasn't storage. It was a shrine. Walls covered in photos, women, all different, all alone. Some had red XS slashed across their faces. Others had notes scribbled underneath. Too loud. Too clingy. Perfect. Jenna's photo was there too. Dead center. No X. No note. Just her face, staring back. There were journals stacked on a table. Patient files. Burned phones. A box of jewelry. Rings, necklaces, bracelets. Jenna spotted one she recognized. Her sister's. The one she wore the night she died. She backed out slowly, locked the door, and put the key back. Didn't say a word. But that night, she packed her bag. She knew Mason wasn't just a therapist. He was something else. Something dangerous. And she wasn't going to be next. Jenna didn't sleep that night. After what she saw in the basement, those photos, the red XS, the box of jewelry, her whole body felt wired. Like her nerves were screaming at her to run. She packed a duffel bag before sunrise. No goodbye note. No second thoughts. Just her wallet, her phone, and the necklace her sister used to wear. She texted her best friend, Tasha. I'm out. Meet me at the diner at 10. But Jenna never showed. Mason told cops she left in the middle of the night. Said she was going through something. Said she'd been unstable. He even showed them a note. One Jenna never wrote. It was typed, not handwritten. Cold. Robotic. Not her style. But the cops didn't push. She was an adult. Adults disappear all the time. Her phone pinged once, around 3 a.m., near a lake 2 towns over. Then, nothing. No texts. No calls. No social media. Just silence. Her bank account stayed untouched. Her car was still parked outside Mason's house. And her duffel bag? Never found. Tasha tried everything. Filed a missing person report. Posted flyers. Hit up Jenna's old friends. But Mason kept his story tight. Said she was too emotional. Said she'd probably gone off-grid. Maybe joined a commune. Maybe relapsed. He played the concerned therapist role like a pro. But behind closed doors, Mason was cleaning. Scrubbing. Burning. Neighbors saw smoke from his backyard fire pit for 3 nights straight. Said it smelled weird, like plastic and something sour. One even called it in. But by the time cops showed up, the fire was out. Mason smiled, offered them tea, and said he was just burning old paperwork. Jenna was gone. No trace. No body. Just a whisper in the wind. And Mason? He went right back to work, taking on new clients, smiling that same hollow smile, like nothing ever happened. 6 months after Jenna vanished, the town had mostly moved on. Cops had no leads. Her case got buried under newer headlines. But then came the dog. A neighbor's golden retriever slipped through a loose fence and wandered into Mason's backyard. Started digging near the fire pit. What it pulled out wasn't a stick. It was a bone. Not animal. Human. The neighbor freaked, called the cops, and within hours, Mason's quiet little brownstone was crawling with detectives. They started with the backyard. Dug up the fire pit. Found charred fragments. Teeth. Ribs. A piece of jaw. Then they hit something deeper. A shallow grave. Wrapped in tarp. Inside. Bones. Jewelry. A necklace with a tiny silver moon charm. Tasha confirmed it. Jenna's favorite. She wore it every day. But that wasn't all. Cops found 2 more burial spots. All women. All missing. One had been gone for over a year. Another was never even reported. Just vanished off the map. Mason had kept trophies, rings, earrings, even a lock of hair sealed in a jar. It was like he'd built a museum of silence. Inside the house, they found more. Hidden compartments. Burned phones. Patient files marked with red ink. Notes like "too defiant" and "needs isolation." Mason had been tracking them, studying them, choosing them. He didn't fight the arrest. Didn't cry. Didn't ask for a lawyer. Just sat there, calm as ever, like he'd been waiting for it. That same creepy smile on his face. Like he was proud. The town flipped. News vans swarmed the street. True crime podcasts lit up. Everyone wanted to know how the perfect therapist turned into a backyard butcher. But the truth? It had been there all along. In the locked basement. In the fire pit. In the silence Jenna left behind. And Mason? He never blinked. Never broke. Just smiled. Like he still had secrets left to bury. Once Mason was behind bars, the real unraveling began. Cops dug into his files, his burner phones, his encrypted laptop. What they found wasn't just disturbing, it was methodical. Mason hadn't just snapped. He'd been running a long con. His therapy practice? It was a hunting ground. Every woman he targeted had a story. Trauma, loss, vulnerability. Mason didn't help them heal. He studied their pain like a blueprint. He picked the ones who had no close family, no strong support system, no one who'd come looking if they disappeared. And once they trusted him, he flipped the switch. One client, a college dropout named Elise, had vanished 2 years earlier. Her case was cold, but Mason had her file, detailed notes, recordings of their sessions, even a photo of her sleeping. Another woman, Marcy, had been reported missing by her landlord. Cops never connected it to Mason, but her necklace was found in his basement, tucked inside a labeled envelope. Marcy, too curious. It wasn't just physical control. Mason played mind games, gaslighting, isolation. He'd convince them they were broken, that only he could fix them. Then he'd cut off their outside world. No phones, no friends, just him. And when they pushed back, they disappeared. The journals were the worst. Mason rated his clients like products. Obedience, 7 out of 10. Emotional depth, 9/10. Risk factor, high. It was like he saw them as characters in a twisted story he was writing. And Jenna? She was his final chapter. The one he thought he could keep forever. Detectives found a list of names, some crossed out, some circled. A few were still alive. They came forward, shaken but breathing. Said Mason had pushed too hard, gotten too close, made them feel unsafe. But they left before it got worse. Jenna didn't. Mason wasn't just a killer. He was a predator in a therapist's chair. And the scariest part? He knew exactly what he was doing. The trial was packed. Reporters, podcasters, true crime junkies, all crammed into the courtroom like it was a movie premiere. Mason Cole walked in wearing a suit like he was headed to brunch, not a murder trial. No cuffs, no sweat, just that same creepy smile, like he was the smartest guy in the room. Prosecutors laid it all out. The backyard graves, the basement shrine, the journals, the trophies. They showed photos of Jenna, Elise, Marcy, women who trusted him, who vanished without a trace. The jury looked sick. One woman cried. Mason? He didn't blink. Just sat there, calm as ever, like he was watching someone else's story. When the verdict dropped, guilty on all counts, he smiled. Not a twitch, not a flinch, just that hollow grin, like he'd won something. Life without parole. No chance of appeal. No chance of freedom. But Mason didn't care. He leaned back in his chair like he was finally at peace. Outside the courthouse, candles burned for Jenna. Her mom spoke to the press, voice shaking but strong. Said Jenna deserved better. Said Mason stole more than lives. He stole futures. Tasha started a podcast called Buried Trust, telling Jenna's story and warning others about predators who wear masks of kindness. The brownstone was torn down. Locals said it was cursed. The backyard was turned into a memorial garden. 3 trees planted, one for each woman they found. People still visit. Leave flowers, notes, pieces of jewelry. It's quiet there now. Peaceful, but heavy. Mason sits in a max security prison, locked away from the world he manipulated. No therapy, no clients, just concrete walls and silence. But he still smiles. Guards say he talks to himself. Says he's writing a book. Says the ending isn't finished yet. And maybe that's the scariest part. Because monsters like Mason, they don't stop when they're caught. They just wait, watch, and smile.